Hello, everybody. I'm Rokelle Lerner. And today I'd like to talk to you about codependency. It's a word that's been used for years, sometimes to the point where it meant that you give up on your kindness by helping somebody. But codependency is part of an attachment phenomenon. It's part of not learning how to attach in a healthy way and how healthy love feels. There is such a thing as healthy dependency. The Japanese call it healthy dependency. In America, we call it interdependency. It's hard to find. Interdependency means that if you love someone, then caring for their needs must coexist with caring and taking responsibility for your own needs. The definition of codependency means that when we become so distracted and uncomfortable with someone else's pain or emotions, and we are in such need of validation, that distraction pulls us away from our connection with ourselves. And that is the source of great pain, bitterness, and shame. There are differences. Men and women are raised differently, of course. Women are raised to anticipate the needs of others, to develop, if you will, 10-foot antenna. Men are raised to have boundaries, to have individuation. They're raised to have their needs met primarily by their mothers without having to know what their needs are or ask for them. This isn't about good or bad. This just sets up a pretty painful paradigm between men and women. The trademark of codependency, of course, is abandonment fear. Because of abandonment fear, a codependent cannot tolerate the uncomfortable feelings of others, particularly those close to them. So one must make absolutely sure, for instance, that their partner doesn't have anger, fear, sadness. Why? Well, it's pretty self-serving. It's not altruistic. The reason is to keep our own guts quiet, to get rid of our own anxiety. And then we systematically choke the life out of ourselves and the people we love. Codependency keeps us from having what I call courageous conversations. And we lose our voice and eventually our integrity. Codependent recovery means that you can stand on your own 2 feet rather than on someone else's toes, according to David Schnarch. So how does codependency happen? Well, none of us had perfect parents, and kids need to believe that their parents love them. So if the parent isn't present, acts critically, abusively, too preoccupied to give the kind of constancy and reflection that a kid needs, children don't blame their parents. They assume that there's something wrong with them, that somehow they are unlovable. And so they wind up accommodating and taking care of parents and molding themselves into somebody they're not. Codependency is all about attachment disruptions, misattunement. So the question is not what's wrong with us. The question is what happened to us. And by the way, this is not about blame or blaming parents. I believe parents do the best they can with what they have. Parents don't wake up in the morning and decide how they're going to mess up their kids that particular day. And when we blame, it means that responsibility for ourselves stops. It's somebody else's fault. Recovery from codependency is healing boundaries and healing our shame. In our adulthood, we can change our patterns. It isn't easy. We change our patterns. We do what we're not inclined to do, and that's called growth. The first step in codependency recovery is to examine your motivation before you approach or start to rescue or start to fix. Let me tell you a story. I came home one day, and I'm very sensitive to facial expression, and I greeted my husband, and what I got is somebody working on the computer, and he gave me a dirty, I consider it a dirty look. Like he said, oh, hi, and went back to work. Right away, my anxiety starts to go up. So did I stop there? No. I came forward a little bit and I said, are you okay? And I got the same look, like, I'm fine. And he went back to work. Finally, my anxiety got so intense. I went up to him and I said, are you sure you're okay? And then I heard Rokelle. I said, I'm fine. You know what I was doing? It's almost like I was down on my hands and knees saying, please fix my anxiety for me. Can you please take my anxiety away? What we need to do before we act, when we feel that anxious, is take the time to pull ourselves away, call a sponsor, call a friend, pray, listen to music. And if you feel younger than your chronological age, it's time to go soothe that little girl or boy who's so anxious. We know codependency is life-draining and leaves us empty. And some of us know that our souls are weary, and this is about reclaiming our spirit. Until next time.